What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Inside the Five. It's Will.
It's Stav.
And it's Griff.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the World Baseball Classic Championship and what that means for the baseball world. And we're going to go over our Boston Red Sox outlook for this upcoming season, as well as some award predictions. What do we say, boys?
Let's do it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Five. Let's get things started talking about the World Baseball Classic Championship. The United States fell to the Japanese team 3-2. It was an excellent game. It was electric. And that basically sums up the entire World Baseball Classic. The entire tournament was excellent. We got to see a showcase of worldwide talent that we usually don't get to see on an everyday basis in the MLB. Congratulations to Team Japan. Stinks that the United States lost. I mean, obviously we were pulling for them, but it was such an awesome game. You know, like the overall outlook, you can't be that disappointed just because of how good this World Baseball Classic was for the entire sport of baseball.
Yeah, and if the United States starting rotation was actually, the best starting pitchers in the United States instead of Merrill Kelly, I think that, we wouldn't have had to deal with the pool play issues. We didn't even know if we were going to advance at one point. There was some speculation about it. And, Japan is, a wagon in the World Baseball Classic. They deservedly won what was theirs, in my opinion. It was a fantastic game. I actually don't think that you could have drew up a better baseball game, like of pure baseball. There was defense, there was offense. It wasn't a crazy score where it was like 8-5 or 8-6 or something like that. It was a 3-2 baseball game. It reminded me of the games, that we used to watch. I mean, in the 2000s, this felt like a 2000s baseball game, which in my opinion was the best era in our lifetime of baseball.
Agreed. And I mean, obviously, it's amazing to see all this talent and seeing this competitive like area around baseball. We don't really see it often. I mean, obviously, the playoffs and everything like that, like fans and everyone gets into it, and like the scenes are amazing as usual. But like this is like a step above that, and which like you don't like you could like obviously you can't compare it to the World Cup, but essentially it is the World Cup for baseball, and like the crowds for that like are 10 times more into it than they are for like imagine we could see that like opening day or like any other time. Like it would be like more people would 100% go to the game. Like I would go to like halfway through the season, like game doesn't really even matter anything or like right now, like random game. And if I know the fans are going to be like that, like I'm more inclined to go, obviously, but we're not going to see that all the time. But it is great to see this level of talent just playing all around in all different countries. It's honestly really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it perfectly, but I kind of wanted to talk about this United States lineup, right? And Griff, you said it well to where we didn't know if this team was actually going to advance to the throughout pool play and make it to the championship. There was a level of concern where they were down 2 runs to what was it, Venezuela? And
Martin Perez.
Yeah, we had to get a bailout from Trey Turner, who hit a grand slam in the 8th inning to put us up in position to advance throughout pool play. I blame the New York Yankees for Team United States not winning the World Baseball Classic. They didn't allow any of their players to go. That's a damn shame. I mean, I'm not surprised the Yankees hate their country. They are called the New York Yankees. Yeah, the New York Yankees players. Yeah, the New York Yankees should be the most American team, but just because they hate the country, they hate their own players, and they hate the sport of baseball, they didn't allow guys who, such as Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, and Anthony Rizzo, to go compete, and Giancarlo Stanton, they didn't allow them to go compete on this world level, and it was a damn shame. I mean, imagine if Aaron Judge was in this lineup over Cedric Mullins, and you got Garrett Cole as the ace. It's really a damn shame that the Yankees did this to the world, to be honest.
So, what's your favorite baseball team?
The Boston Red Sox.
I know, it's like I get into those moments where it's baseball season. You guys know who shits on the Yankees the most on this podcast on recordings is me, but that is officially the first one of the season. That is the first Yankee rant of the season, and what better time than for all three of us to be wearing something Red Sox related during that time. Another team that I want to blame for the unsuccess. What's the opposite of success? Failure.
Yes.
That was a stupid question. For the failure of Team United States in the final. I won't call this team a failure, but they are a failure. We are USA. We are the best. The St. Louis Cardinals are 100% to blame. If you want to put your two best players, at 3 and 4 at the dead heart of our lineup, if they're going to be from the same baseball club, they cannot go 1 for 7 in a World Baseball Classic combined. I mean, just an absolutely terrible, terrible showing. I know Arenado walked once. And you know what? They both were playing pretty good throughout the whole tournament. And in those positions, they didn't come through in this scenario. So 100% of the blame is on the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Yankees.
Yeah, no other team. I mean, I throw some of the blame on the city of Philadelphia as well for having some of their players compete in this. I mean, part of my take said it best.
I understand where you're coming from, but in my opinion, the best players, the only 2 scoring runs came from Philadelphia Phillies players in this game.
Yeah, 100%. But it's just a common theme from the city of Philadelphia to do your absolute best, but still come up short. So I blame Philly for this second place appearance. So put it on a graphic. We have part of our inside the fives, blame for the World Baseball Classic loss, the New York Yankees, St. Louis Cardinals, and the city of Philadelphia. Those are the 3 areas we are going to blame for this loss.
Yeah, honestly, just bad decisions overall. Who let them play? At the end of the day, it's like Team USA, the Yankees didn't want anyone, but honestly, we don't even want them. We don't even want them. We don't want them at the end of the day.
Like if Aaron Judge was batting in the 2-hole and we had him in the bottom of the 9th with a runner on, where Mike
you just ground out to second.
I don't want to see him.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see him. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but no, let's be honest.
Meatballs to everyone on Team Cuba? I don't think so.
Yeah, Garrett Cole throwing against the Dominican Republic. If they move on and Rafael Devers is hitting nukes off them.
All right, let's be honest though. Aaron Judge would probably bat 9th on this team. But I'm just being honest. I mean,
no bias.
Who would you put him ahead of? I certainly would put him ahead of JT Realmuto. He's the best.
Well, the issue is NL batting champ Jeff McNeil's pinch hitting, so I'd probably have Judge off the bench too.
Yeah, it's just depending on the matchup. Maybe you platoon him with Cedric Mullins. If you have lefty. I mean, Aaron Judge sucks against lefties anyways, but so you probably couldn't platoon him there. Yeah, maybe
kind of like Cedric Mullins in the field too.
Yeah, he's probably off the bench. That's a good point. Stanton's probably a DH platoon once a bat or once a game type guy. Garrett Cole's probably a mid reliever, 3rd, 4th inning. But sometimes those guys need to be in the situations, right?
That's right.
I trust Garrett Cole not to give up 5 runs in 1 inning. Kind of. It's unfortunate that the Yankees really robbed the world of displaying their talent. They paid their players for nothing. And I imagine we had, in all seriousness, imagine we had this starting rotation of Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, and whoever the hell else wants to be the 5th starter. Dylan Cease. Yeah, Wainwright, Dylan Cease. Literally anybody. Chris Sale. I mean, I don't know if I would want Chris Sale in that spot because he'd probably get injured.
I mean, Chris Sale is due for an injury, so
yeah.
Because once Chris Sale comes back, then within the next week he is due for 1 injury.
But you get my overall point here.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool to see the best of the best pitch for the United States, but it's really not room for. You can't blame the pitching for this loss. You let 3 runs to Japan. Japan's really.
And the last thing that I want to make sure that I get this in about this game in specific, the championship game. that was the perfect ending. That like up until obviously strike 3, if you are an American, you would have wanted a walk-off bomb from Mike Trout off of Shohei Ohtani. But with 2 outs, a chance to win the game, at the plate steps up Mike Trout going up against Shohei Ohtani. That is the perfect ending. That is what every single person wanted.
Yeah. W ending, to be honest. It would have been too scripted if like Trout hit a walk-off home run.
Yeah, no, I feel like we all knew he was going to strike out. Shout out! I saw on TikTok some guy said like Mike Trout strikes out 175 times a year, and then somebody busted that he only did that once in his career.
Yeah. ESPN doesn't know baseball.
It was on First Take.
Yeah, that was Mad Dog. He's an idiot. Like, I don't understand how these guys get paid to talk about sports. They don't know what is going on in that sport.
That's like Mad Dog from Mike and the Mad Dog?
Yeah.
Wow, rest in peace, that show.
Yeah, I mean,
so
now
having 2 Mikes make a show together.
Yeah, so it's like that pissed me off, to be honest, because baseball is on the come up. Mm-hmm. Like it went through a drought in the 2010s up to probably around 2019, 2020, and now it's like on the increase, right? MLB is implementing all these new rules, and to have one of the biggest sports talk shows just not know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to baseball, it's a damn shame. Like, if you're going to talk baseball, have somebody who knows what he's talking about on that show. That's like me saying if Aaron Judge, like, only hit, like, 10 home runs in the World Baseball or some shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, he doesn't hit home runs anyways. This is a good impressive. Like, this is a good game from him or, like, a good appearance. Like, something like that. Just, like, a stupid take. Like, Mike Trout doesn't I mean,
and I only bring up numbers when they're in front of me because I don't want to get caught with that. I feel like that should be like a fear. And Mad Dog's been on the radio since we were born.
In New York. Like, that's probably the biggest sports radio market. And for him just to be so wrong is just trash. Although there should be an asterisk on his strikeouts because he has been injured for a lot of those years. Yes. But still, regardless, we're not here to talk about Mad Dog. That guy's a bum. We're here to talk about our Boston Red Sox. You know, we name dropped them a few times prior in the World Baseball Classic. But, boys, a week from today, opening day against the Baltimore Orioles, right? It's against the Baltimore Orioles. Mm-hmm. Opening day. It's
also a week from today.
A week from today, you'll see Corey Kluber on the mound, which to some people it was a surprise. I like it. I want to see Corey Kluber. He had a great spring training. His velo was up, and I am very excited to see what this lineup can do. So, Griff, tell me I don't want to say your stat line prediction because that's just we don't have anything to base it off of. But what are your expectations for opening day? What are you wanting to see out of this Red Sox pitching staff in total and their lineup?
Specifically on opening day, I want to see Corey Kluber throw 6 good innings, go into the 7th, maybe get through 7. But my line for him is 6. I'll officially put it at 5 2/3, where I want him I want us, especially on the first game of the season, to not have to use up some of this bullpen. I want to see how long we can get into the season. And in game 2, we're scheduled to start Sale. So I'm kind of hoping around the same thing for him. I think that these two should build up upon each other. And, there's been a lot of comparisons between these two pitchers and how good they were in 2017. Obviously, one was the Cy Young, one was the runner-up. And I just want to see some consistency. I don't care if they put up 3-4 runs. I'm hoping that this lineup can put up 5 or 6, honestly. I just want to see them get some good quality innings, and I want to see them stay in the game. I don't want them to, get blown up in the 3rd. And I know this is pretty obvious, but in a dream world, Corey Kluber throws 6 hard innings, maybe lets up 2 or 3 runs, and then we see what we can do with our bullpen from there. I just want to see him, take on more than half of this game.
I mean, I'm pretty much right there with you from the pitching perspective. I mean, I expect Corey Kluber to go 5 innings, and be decent. Like, that should be, bare minimum from him. If he can take us into 6.5, maybe get through 7 innings, and then we go into the bullpen, like that's realistically what we want. I mean, granted, he is our opening day starter, so he's our number one at the moment. So as a number one, that's what we should expect. Having Chris Sale coming in behind him the next day, like you said, Griff, I'd expect the same, if not better, because it's Chris Sale, one. And two, like the consistency from pitching is really what's going to keep us going throughout the year. Now, if we look at the other side of the ball, I really want to see this team stay in the game with the bats. I want to see early season bat discipline. I hate early on. We tend to just start swinging, and I don't like that. Obviously, that doesn't promote an interesting game from our side, but it's early season. It's going to be as interesting as it's going to get. It's the first game of the season. Like I'm not first week, like none of these games necessarily like matter, but it like I want to see like effort here. I don't want us to like go out there, start swinging at pitches because we're down. Like I'd rather see us lose trying to win the game than lose just swinging at whatever, because that's kind of what we do every time. So I mean, if we can like put something together offensively and be somewhat consistent with the bats, it would be nice to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, we just have to be disciplined at the plate. And I was going to say a very similar thing as well. But guys, I'm expecting discipline out of. So we don't have the opening day lineup card right in front of us, but my prediction, at least for this lineup right now, in whatever order, it's going to be Yoshida, Kike, Devers, Tristan Cassis, Adam Duvall, Alex Verdugo. We're going to have...
You're missing Turner in the heart of that.
Well, I know I'm not saying in any specific order. I'm just kind of going through. Obviously, Justin Turner, Reese McGuire, and Christian Arroyo. Depending, positions could vary and whatnot. But out of that lineup, there's some swing and miss potential, right? Yep. Especially out of guys like Alex Verdugo, Adam Duvall, Justin Turner, kind of. He at this point in his career. Definitely. So we just want to see discipline, and those guys are some veteran. There's veteran presence right there, and if we can limit the swing and miss potential there, that's huge. And I think that we really shouldn't lose to the Baltimore Orioles right now. I mean, I know the Orioles finished above us in the standings last year, but we are a better team than the Baltimore Orioles are this year, and I think we're more complete. They do have some good players, but I don't think that they're better than the Boston Red Sox right now, and I think, on the contrary, I think these games do matter essentially where you need to get off to a good start. And you need to have a good month of March and a great month of April so you can get ahead in the standings and compete. Because if you sit above 500 or you go on a big winning streak early on in the year, that propels you for the rest of the year. Because people, when they talk about the 2021 season, we went through a bad drought in August and September. And because we went on this huge win streak in the beginning of the year in 2021, that's what allowed us to stay into the playoff race. Our season came down to the last game of the regular season where we beat Washington. And if we lost that game, we wouldn't have made the playoffs. So every single game, especially early on, if you can go on a big win streak, and the Red Sox schedule early on is really easy. You face Baltimore in a 3-game set, and then you face Pittsburgh in a 4-game set.
All of those games at home as well.
That's a huge win potential right there, and that can kick your season off to a great start. And especially because Garrett Whitlock's going to be out for the first part of the season, around 2 weeks, and then you get him back into the rotation. You get some of these missing guys back, and this team could really skyrocket if they get hot at the right time.
Yeah, we should be 5. We should be 5-2. Like realistically, like from that 7-game stretch, realistically, I would like we should be 7-0. Like those are easy games, but like I can't guarantee that from the Sox. But I really think we should be over 500 in those games to start the season.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the squad real quick through those first set of games, I like us, and the reason that I like us is I have belief that. I'm going back to my point, I guess. Corey Kluber, Chris Sale, and then give you probably Nick Pivetta on day 3. Those first 3 games, I could see Pivetta getting pulled in the 3rd. I could see Pivetta going through 8, and if we can get that, I don't mind, Joely Rodriguez coming in only for 1 inning and Ryan Brazier coming in for an inning and just having these relievers not have to do these long, 2-3 inning things, and we have Tanner Houck for that, which is a good thing. But I don't want to see Tanner Houck until the second week. I don't want to see Tanner Houck have to come in the third inning until at least that first 7 game span. If we're gonna have Houck out there, I would like to have him probably in the starting rotation without Whitlock, but I'd like to have him maybe a 7-8 inning guy, and then we bring in Kenley Jansen for the 9th. I'm sick of this early reliever Tanner Houck appearances.
No, 100%. And I'm nervous for the Kenley Jansen experience. The Dodgers hated him, especially towards the back half of his career. He was kind of known for blowing big games. Hopefully that changes with the change in the atmosphere, but he is a good closer. Don't get me wrong. He is a very good closer, a top half closer in the MLB, especially this year when the close
low-key a legend.
Yeah, the closer position this year is very weak. So we could probably see him being the top 10, top 5 in MLB for closing, or for saves rather. And but there's going to be a stretch in the year. It's going to be on. I'm going to say it's on record right now, where he blows probably 3-4 saves in a row, and he's going to get booed and whatnot. But that's going to happen. It's just that's the baggage you take on with Kenley Jansen. But it's up to the offense not to. If Kenley Jansen hypothetically gets really low saves because the Red Sox are winning games by a point where they don't need him, that's a great thing. And as a closer, that's what you want. Limited appearances. So hopefully they figure out a way. This offense is very deep 1 through 9, and hopefully Trevor Story can come back around July, because with him in this lineup, I think we are better than a wild card team. I don't think we'll win the division just because of how the season's shaped up and how hard the schedule is. But with Trevor Story in this lineup, the lineup is very deep, and I love them. All right. Moving on to the next topic. Griff, let me know, who are you expecting to make a step up from the prior year? We kind of touched upon this a few weeks back, but with the season closing in, the World Baseball Classic being over, who do you expect to make that step? Not necessarily from their performance in 2021, because it could be a rookie, but let me know. 2023 most improved player on the Boston Red Sox.
If it's cool, I want to give two quicker ones. I'll say 2 in the span of 1. And only because the first one, I feel like everybody is kind of having the same opinion on this guy right now, and that's Masataka Yoshida. I think he's gonna be an all-star this year. I think that he's gonna be an all-star. I think that he could bat first for us. I think that he could bat second for us. I think that he could bat third for us. He's everybody's guy right now. But a guy that I want to mainly hone in on is, believe it or not, Christian Arroyo. I've been thinking about this guy. I've been looking at this guy. I've been talking about this guy. And I think, just with, obviously you're talking about Trevor Story coming back maybe in July. That gives this guy 2 full months of consistent play at second base. We really haven't seen Christian Arroyo ever play consistently. He's filled in for injuries, and he played a lot last year. But I want to see him, opening day through this span of July, which I think is a very important time for a player to be getting that form of consistency. I could see Christian Arroyo being good at the latter half of our lineup and really giving us a boost down there. A guy that, is in that similar position, but I think is going to fail is Reese McGuire. But Christian Arroyo, I actually kind of do have, I wouldn't say, high hopes, but I think he's going to perform in that position. He's going to have a lot of consistency there. And when you're in the majors, you want to have your position locked down, and that's just a whole weight off your shoulders. So he'll have that until the arrival of Trevor Story.
I want Alex Verdugo to produce at a more consistent level this year. He's the guy that we look at, and obviously the last couple of years, he's kind of been our guy in the outfield. We go to him, we look for him. He's kind of that energy coming into that second half of the lineup most of the time. And obviously last year with Kike, took a step down from the prior year. Need to look at Alex Verdugo in this situation. I think he's a guy that can bring energy. Had a great World Baseball Classic. He was hitting the ball a lot, which you like to see that, especially going into the start of the regular season. I want to see him produce more. I want to see him get out there. I want to see him get after. I want to see him making plays in the outfield. I want to see the bat going, most importantly, though, because he's a guy that can hit those late game home runs and send us to the next level. He's like, realistically, we have all these guys that can hit the ball and be consistent, but he's going to be that guy that comes out of nowhere and hits a home run like usual, and it's going to be a clutch home run. And we're going to look for him later on in the season. We need him to start going early to gain that confidence, because last year you could tell he lost it, and he kind of lost it, gained it throughout the year. And obviously we had a rocky season last year. So if we can stay consistent with him, kind of dictates a lot for us.
The guy I'm going to look at, I'm answering my own question, but it's Kike Hernandez. He's kind of taken the unofficial captain role of this Boston Red Sox team, especially after a pretty rough offseason where we lost two of our leaders in the clubhouse with Xander Bogaerts and JD Martinez. He's stepped up into that role and being the voice of the clubhouse, essentially. And he kind of got a lot of shit for it in the Boston media, which I think is very unnecessary, to be honest. A lot of guys are saying that he's not a good guy to have the face of your franchise, or the voice of your clubhouse. I think he's the perfect guy. He's a veteran who has a lot of playoff experience, who has played well in the playoffs historically, regardless of where he's been. He carried us in 2021. We all know that. He had one of the most historic postseason runs of all time, and he's such a good utility guy where he can play wherever you need him to play, which is probably Alex Cora's like dream in a player, where he's so flexible that he can play second, short, third, center field, wherever you need him, he can play. And he's keeping the energy in this clubhouse up, which is very important because we have a lot of younger guys coming into the system, coming into their own, like we saw with Tristan Casas at the end of last season, where apparently a lot of the veterans didn't like what he was doing when he was stretching, sunbathing in the field before the game. Who cares? Let him do that. And a guy like Kike Hernandez as leader of your clubhouse, he likes that stuff. He wants everyone to be themselves, and he's fun to listen to. He's charismatic. Everyone likes Kike, and I'm expecting his off-the-field performance, or like off-the-field leadership, to translate on the field. I want him to bat in the upper half of the 250s. I want him to get around 15 home runs like he did his first year here, and like get to 70 RBI, have like a good OPS. That's what we want, and he's good in the field. We know that, and I'm excited to see what he has to bring to this team this year, especially with the light being brighter on him as an individual.
Yeah, and I feel like last year it was kind of Kike is our guy, right? He's playing every day, but where is he playing every day? And I feel like just, obviously losing Xander Bogaerts is something that we didn't want to go through, but it happened. And that opens up that shortstop position wide for somebody that has played shortstop in big games in Los Angeles. And, coming to the Sox, he changed to center field, and I feel like shortstop is his natural position. I mean, that's what he played going through the farm system. That's what he played in LA. And obviously he is a rotational, a tool guy. He can play every single position on the field, except for, pitcher and most likely catcher. But in baseball, I feel like everybody, it's the same thing every day, repetition. You're looking at pitches, you're doing all these things. You want to have consistency, right? And I feel like having him be our everyday shortstop and having him be in that position. It was the same when he was in center field in 2021. He was there every single day. He was looking at the same thing every single day, and that was perfect. That part of the mental game is totally gone, where where you're going to be playing every single day. You know what your job is every single day. Now you just have to go do it. I think you mentioning, I thought Will was going to mention him, because I know I stole two players, so we were running low on the amount of players we could talk about. But I'm glad that you mentioned Kike, because I didn't say Kike because I am genuinely expecting him to return to his 2021 self.
And he has to. We need him to.
Yeah. Like, I was going to say Kike, but then in the back of my head, I was like, Verdugo is like one of those guys we need.
He needed to be mentioned too.
He needed to be mentioned, yeah.
And we're saying this at a point where we need these guys to produce. It's not like whether or not they produce, like, next guy up. No, these guys are going to be everyday guys for us, and we need them to produce. And Christian Arroyo is going to be that bridge guy for Trevor Story to come back, because once Story comes back, we'll see a limited role for Arroyo. But if he can hold his own at second base while we wait for him, I will be extremely happy because Trevor Story is an all-star type player. And
I'm expecting him to.
Trevor Story, I'm a big Trevor Story guy, right? I have been since we signed him. I'm literally wearing his jersey right now. It's unfortunate the short end of the stick that he got last year. He got injured at the wrong time, right when he was hot, and he didn't have the best of seasons. Don't get me wrong, but it's an adjustment year. Everyone's numbers were down last year, but Trevor Story got a lot of shit out of the Boston media, and everyone wonders why nobody likes Boston media. So I don't know. I hope when he comes back, I'm expecting him to play. That's a guy later on. We'll talk about it too when he comes back, but that's another guy who I'm really expecting to take the next step for this organization.
Yeah. Would you consider us like Boston media? Like, do you think we align with their values? Because
No.
Sometimes Marcus Smart, he'll shoot a few threes and it's I'm all up on here, like, but honestly, at the end of the night, every single time before I go to bed, I say love and trust. So it's all about Marcus Smart. It's all about the Celtics.
Well, I'm gonna be clear as well right now. Everything we say is out of what we feel because we love these teams. It seems like from the Boston media, a lot of what we see, especially from guys like Dan Shaughnessy or the guys on 98.5, what they say is just clickbait. Like, let's be real. Like, I'm going to give an example. This is off topic of the Red Sox, but last night, Scott Zolak ended their show by saying, big announcement before the show tomorrow morning. Make sure to tune in. And they didn't have an announcement regarding the page. They had no announcement. And it's like, that's literally clickbait. That's not. And everyone was like shitting on him, and he's like, "Oh, I expected a big time receiver to sign here." But who is Scott Zolak? Like, do you think he has the short sources over guys like Adam Schefter? No. Like, the only time you can listen to Scott Zolak is during training camp because he's literally on the field. Other than that, you can't listen to him because he doesn't know anything. This happens all the time. Whenever New England media or Boston media is on the tip of their toes, or the edge of their seat, like, oh, what's going to happen with our teams? Guys from 98.5, the Sports Hub, come in, think they have the scoops, try and get the listeners up just so they can drop absolutely nothing. Because
they do their job. They do their job. That's their job. So
yeah, it is. I'm not no shade, but that's the difference between us and them. I think what we do is more genuine compared to what they do. As I enjoy my cookie.
I agree. I like that side you took because you're right. Like, we're not going on here and going on to the Red Sox lineup and being like, making a big deal out of Rafael Devers. Like, if we haven't even talked about Rafa yet, like we haven't talked about this bullpen yet. And we're just out here talking about like our guys. Like, these are like, we are here to watch almost every single game this season. And we want to see these guys come through. When they don't come through, sure as hell, you'll see me talking about it on this podcast. I will be ripping shit about Reese McGuire in a male part. I mean, Reese McGuire batting like 0.40 and absolutely tanking the bottom half of our lineup. But no, you're right. But where I'm going with Boston sports and this team in general, this is a team I feel like historically we've put together rosters kind of similar to this. These are teams that fail, and this year, and they crumble under this pressure of being in Boston, being in Title Town, all these different things. This year, I feel like a lot of that has been wiping off. I feel like due to the fact that Kike is here, we have a new emerged leader. Last year, who was the leader of our team? You could say Xander, but Xander was leaving. He was in the process of leaving. He wasn't accepting any contracts that we were giving him. He was supposed to be our captain. We were always talking about he was going to sign for the next 10, 11 years. We were going to put a C on his chest, right? So really last year we didn't have a leader. This year, you're right, Stav. Kike has stepped up. And in my opinion, there is nobody else on this team that I would rather have step up in this situation than Kike. And I say that over Rafael Devers. I say that 100 million% over Chris Sale. But I feel like he is a guy that represents the way that this city wants this team to play. So a lot of the hate, I think early in the season, is going to shift. I mean, opposite. It's going to be the exact opposite, even just a few weeks into the season, when you realize the style that Kike plays with and, just the emotion that he plays with. He's an emotional baseball player. He makes big plays and he celebrates big plays, and we eat that up. Boston sports eats that up. I think Kike is it was made for Boston sports. I've always thought that. I think that he's a very emotional player, and we love emotions over here.
At the end of the day, circling everything we just said, it's all about the narrative. Is what at the end of the day, that's literally what it is. The narrative's going to change any single time we do good. We're going to be like, oh, are the Red Sox back? Are they good? And as soon as we blow like 3 saves in a row, it's like, oh, the Red Sox are slumping hard. It's like, no, like we just lost a series. Like we have 17 more to go. Like it's going to be up and down regardless, because we are a Boston team. Like it's going to be the end of the year. It's going to be halfway through the year, and we're going to, wherever we are floating around, it's going to be like, oh, this is why the Boston Red Sox are not going to make the playoffs. Or it's going to be, oh, this is why the Boston Red Sox might win the World Series. And then it's just how it is every single time. And it's nice, but it also sucks at the same time, because then you hear the blunt end of like, oh, this is why Kike can't lead a team. But then he comes out and hits 5 home runs in 7 games, and then has like, you know what I mean? Like he goes out and has like a crazy stint, and he's back on track. And it's like, well, it's not like it's not there. Like it happens, you know what I mean? Like obviously, like we're in the limelight every single, like we get the spotlight all the time. The other teams that aren't always in it, like I'm sure they get it too, but it's not at the same level. Like you'll hear us getting trashed on national television as soon as we slump right away.
And just historic context of the Boston Red Sox, the Red Sox succeed when they have the least amount of expectations on them, right? When they're that team, nobody's expecting, literally, we all know this, nobody's expecting them to win the division, never mind even make the playoffs.
And I would say around this time last year, we had expectations. Obviously, it was the lockout, but I feel like we had expectations going into the season last year.
We did. We were coming off an ALCS run, pretty much bringing back everybody besides Kyle Schwarber and Hunter Renfroe. I mean, 2 big losses, don't get me wrong. But then we were
biggest losses of all time.
Yeah.
And
then we were bringing back guys like Chris Sale, who evolved. Like our rotation was still the same, and we were expecting guys like Tanner Houck to step up, Jarren Duran in a full season atmosphere. So there were guys who we were expecting to really step up who never really did perform up to the level we were expecting them to.
It felt like we were on the brink of a World Series victory. It felt like we were,
especially after the ALCS.
Yeah.
I'd do some crazy things to have Nathan Eovaldi on this roster. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, the rotation would be so much better with Eovaldi.
That'd be our one.
Yeah, he would start on a week from today. But with all of this being said, the Red Sox over-under for wins is at 77.5. Now, that's them sitting around 500, a little below 500. What's our prediction for the over-under here?
Will?
I'm going to go over. I think we're an over 500 baseball club this year, and I don't think there's any reason for me to question that. I mean, like we said, when the Red Sox don't have expectations, they exceed. They exceed and they excel. That's what they do. They're a team that does that. And I think we're in a position to make more moves. We're in a position to be active around the deadline. I think for all of those reasons, I can believe that we're going to be an over 500 baseball club. Whether or not I think that's low. I think that's kind of low for us. I think we can win 80 games this year.
So you have them at 500?
Well, I mean, my bad, not 80 games. Over 80 games. I have over. That's what I meant to say. Over 80 games, not at 500.
I got this team winning out now, like 100 games. Chris Sale, Cy Young, Raphael MVP, Kike had MVP, but no. We're just gonna win everything. We're gonna win every single game. We're gonna win out. No, realistically, I have them going over 500, and I don't know if I have them going plenty of games over 500. Would maybe mark them around 85 wins. And I love 77. If that's the over, that's the over right now. I'll take it right now.
I took it. I took the over.
I genuinely believe that there's no doubt in my mind that we win over 77 games. I do kind of like us around 85. If you want to stretch it out, I think ceiling maybe 90. Just being realistic with the pitching, but this team goes where our bats are, and I'm going to bring up specifically Masataka Yoshida, who, we signed him for what, $80 million. And people were
90.
talking. Yeah. And people were talking, maybe we should sign him for 40, 45. That was, terrifying when that news broke out. And then you actually see this guy play baseball, and thank God for the World Baseball Classic. Thank God we got to see him play some meaningless baseball. Because he did nothing but, make me excited. And
that shut that narrative up real quick.
And you could even argue that him going over 3 in the championship wasn't a bad thing. He in the 9th, he had a very, very good plate appearance. Ended up walking. He was the winning run of the game. I mean, that was the best possible scenario. If Japan was going to win it, it had to be Masataka Yoshida, and he played a very integral part of that team. So now I'm excited for him. And Alex Verdugo, I need him to step up. But Kike, I'm expecting him to step up. I expect him to be that 2-hole for us, and that moves Rafi down to 3. And then I think 1, 2, 3, could compete with the best 1, 2, 3 holes in the league. I genuinely think that they can do that. But of course, then, it's been the story of the past couple of years. We don't know what this pitching is going to do for us. So we got to put up some runs this year.
And I think the lineup's capable of doing that.
Definitely.
And we haven't talked much about Rafael Devers because he is now expected to be a top 3 third baseman in the MLB.
An MVP candidate.
Yes. We are expecting him to win or be in the NL MVP race, AL MVP race. And he has to be. With the money that he's making, with the expectations on his shoulders, with his age and everything, his past performances, we are expecting him to be the face of the franchise. So that's kind of why we haven't really talked about him. But we know his ceiling. His ceiling is the AL MVP. His ceiling is the best player in baseball, batting around 280, 285, 40 home runs. He's a guy who can do that, having 110 plus RBIs. He is a guy who can do that, right? And the pieces around him have to succeed as well for him to excel. But he's a guy who can do that. We've seen it in the past where he hasn't really put together. Last year wasn't a full healthy season for him, but he's always up at the top for extra base hits. He's always up there for home runs. We just need him to put together a full season if this Red Sox team wants to do the damage we want them to.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like Kike and Yoshida need to provide that consistency in the 1 and the 2, because we saw Rafi a lot in the 2-hole last year. He's a guy that needs to be bringing in runs for us. So I really, really need production before he gets up to bat, because he's got to be our guy. He has to be our guy. We just paid him millions upon millions of dollars to bat 3rd, 4th for us. So he needs to step up and do it. And I think that he is a perfect guy for that position. And I hope, and I think, and I'm even going to say, I know that things will work out throughout this, 11-year span that we have. And we have him until he's like 50 years old. So we'll be fine with him. I trust him.
I like that.
All right. Moving on from Red Sox, let's give a brief prediction for the overall MLB, right? We're a baseball podcast. We're baseball guys. Let's talk about who we think is going to win some awards. Starting with our AL MVP prediction. Will, what do you think?
Rafael Devers. I'm just being straight up. He had a chance to win it last year. I think he comes back out swinging the same way. This team has a perfect opportunity for him to boost this team. He's in the perfect position to lead and carry this team. I think he has a great chance of winning it this year.
I'm actually in between 2 guys right now, but fear that you're going to take this one guy, Stav. I'll take the other. I'm going to go Yordan Alvarez. I think that he's due for another monster year. And no matter what, if you like it or not, the Astros are going to be one of the best teams in baseball. And he's going to be batting right there in the heart of the order. I mean, I have him maybe even leading the AL in home runs. I think that he's going to hit some bombs this year. I think that he's actually in for a big year, and you can get him with great value as well. I think right now he's plus 1,200. So
I like that.
This is a hot take. I don't think that my guy is going to be the same as what you thought it would be, Griff. I'm going to go Julio Rodriguez.
That was the guy.
No shot.
Swear to God, that was the guy. And Julio Rodriguez actually has lower odds than Yordan Alvarez.
That's so funny. I love Julio Rodriguez. I'm a big Julio Rodriguez guy. With the young, fun, exciting Seattle Mariners, he is the face of that franchise. I totally expect him to take a step up from what he did last year, and what he did last year was nothing short of excellent. The AL West is very competitive, but he's a guy who steps up in the spotlight, and I expect him to deliver. I expect him to bat over 300. I expect him to have 30 home runs. I expect him to steal some bags. I expect him to drive in some runs, and he is totally capable of doing that, and he's a guy who he's a treat to watch every single day. The Seattle Mariners last year were awesome to watch, starting with him as that leadoff guy. So staying in the AL, let's talk about Cy Young, the opposite side of the diamond. Will, who do you have winning the AL Cy Young?
Cy Young. Oh, I'm trying to think.
Griff, do you have a guy in mind?
Spin it back.
You want me to go? I got some guys.
Yeah, you go.
This year's AL Cy Young. Let's see. I got like 3 guys right now. It's not gonna be Garrett Cole.
No, absolutely not.
Let's just get that out of the way. How about a newcomer into the AL? Easy pick. You can call me Chalker. Jacob deGrom. First year in the AL. He wasn't really healthy last year. Honestly, he's never really been healthy ever. I'd like to see him put it together this year on a new team. I like pitchers going over to new teams. And yeah, I'm gonna go Jacob deGrom. Call me what you want. You can call me a loser. You can call me an idiot. But when I take in the plus 600 from Jacob deGrom, I'll be a happy man.
I got mine. I'm gonna go Kevin Gausman. I'm going bold. I'm going to go Kevin Gausman. I think he's a little underrated. I think he has a chance to prove something, maybe be big this year. I'll take my odds on him.
All right, I'm going to say 2 guys, just because I'm going to say my first prediction, who I was going to say anyways, then a guy who popped into my mind who I love just because I like this team. So
I hope I think of one of these guys. I have one more guy in my head too.
Guy number 1 is Shane McClanahan. I think Shane McClanahan is due. I mean, last year I think he was close to leading the MLB in strikeouts. I think he got hurt towards the end, but Shane McClanahan's an ace, right? And he's due for a big contract extension. We're going to expect him to step up and perform for this Tampa Bay Rays team, and he needs to start striking out guys because this offense, we all know that the Rays can't score and they pride themselves on defense. And now that the shift is banned, what are they going to do? Shane McClanahan has to step up and he has to strike out guys. Guy number 2, who's kind of more of a long shot for me, but give me Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, I'm big on the Mariners this year. I think that they are going to win the AL West over Houston, which could be a hot take to some, but I love Luis Castillo. I think that he's a great pitcher, and although he's technically the number 2 in this rotation behind Robbie Ray, I think that he's a guy who can step up. He just got a lot of money in the offseason. He's staying in Seattle. Seattle is going to be a fun team and a tough division, but I think that Luis Castillo is going to step up and get a lot of strikeouts, limit run production, and help the Seattle Mariners win a lot of games.
You get him at plus 1,600.
Mm-hmm.
Good odds. By the way, Will, for AL MVP, if you were to take Rafi, plus 3,000.
I like that.
Throw the mortgage.
My other guy I was thinking of was Dylan Cease, but I feel like he's, up there. He's up there.
Yeah, no, Dylan Cease, I think he has the 3rd best odds. Yeah.
Yes.
At plus 900.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It's a safe pick. But I was going with
I feel like, I took a boring pick with Jacob deGrom, but who cares about Dylan Cease?
Yeah, he's on a underperforming Chicago White Sox team.
Yeah, nobody watches the White Sox.
Now, let's go to the other side, the other conference. We have the other league. I'm sorry. Let's talk about NL MVP. Griff, who do you have?
I'm not going to take the first guy on the list this time. I will switch it up. I'm going to go – I have two guys in mind. I'm going to go Brandon Woodruff. I love Brandon Woodruff.
For NL MVP?
Oh, for NL MVP? I
Yes.
thought we were going still Cy Young. Oh, wait. Now, okay, I need to get back to my numbers here. Okay. I'm ready. NL MVP. This year, the NL MVP is going to be Ronald Acuna Jr. I think that coming off an injury, he's getting a lot of hate. A lot of hate from everywhere on the world, even from where he's from for not playing in the World Baseball Classic, to even Atlanta Braves fans for, I mean, you could almost compare him to John Morant without, the legal situation. People just don't like him right now. And I feel like they're forgetting who Ronald Acuna Jr. truly is. He's fourth in terms of odds at plus 1,000. I think that's great value for him. So I'm going to go Ronald Acuna Jr.
Will?
I'm going to go Trey Turner. I think he's going to come off, start the season hot, get going early. He's going to have a little bit of a slump here, like not at halfway, but towards halfway. And right after All-Star break, he's going to skyrocket. Boom. I think he's going to take this.
Will, I was going to say Trey Turner as well. That's funny. But I'm going to go with his former teammate, Freddie Freeman. First baseman, obviously, Los Angeles Dodgers. LA has World Series or bust expectations every year, starting essentially with Freddie Freeman being their second best, first best player. Mookie Betts and him are right there, 1A and 1B. And they're losing some production in that lineup with Justin Turner being gone, with Trey Turner being gone. Guys like Freddie Freeman are expected to step up and produce, and he's totally capable of doing it. We've seen it throughout his career. He's a former NL MVP winner. He's getting paid to win MVPs and help win games for this Los Angeles Dodgers club, and I think he does it. I have Freddie Freeman winning NL MVP at plus 1,400. You get some good value there.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Now, let's go back to the other side of the diamond. Griff, if you want to continue on your Brandon Woodruff prediction of NL Cy Young, you can continue with that.
Okay, yes, thank you. Sorry for the mix-up. I was so ready to talk about the NL Cy Young. But yeah, I like Brandon Woodruff this year. And kind of for a bit of the same reasoning that you had on the AL side, he, by terms, is not this team's ace. Corbin Burnes is still this team's best pitcher. And this is the number 2 guy where I think, I mean, you put him on the Boston Red Sox, I'm buying his jersey right away, and he is our ace, and he is like our god. Coming off a 13-win season, he has a lot to prove, in my opinion. He's entering age 30 of his life, which, in my opinion, is a big year for pitchers. 30 to 35 for pitchers, this isn't scientifically proven, but in my opinion, 30 to 35 is that Cy Young range. And I love Brandon Woodruff to step up. And I actually like Milwaukee this year in the NL Central. Big part of that is because the NL Central, in my opinion, sucks. Love the pitching from Milwaukee. And I think Brandon Woodruff will do very good just based off of the rotation. The whole team's going to stay solid. They're going to be locked in all year.
I'm going to go Spencer Strider. Big rookie year. I stole Styles guy again. Big rookie year. I like him this year. I think the Braves are going to be pretty good. I think he has a lot to carry on for that team. That there's high expectations going around there. Obviously, they just won a World Series 2 years ago. Came up kind of short last year. They need to get back on track. I think perfect opportunity for him to just go out there and have a great season.
Yes, Will, you did take my pick again, which is the NL. Will just stole my thoughts. My prediction here is going to be Corbin Burnes. Although it is kind of a boring pick, he has the second highest odds at plus 550, right behind Sandy Alcantara at plus 500, as I'm looking at it on FanDuel. But here's my justification for that. This is a big contract year for Corbin Burnes. And Corbin Burnes is a guy who we've constantly seen dominate. Especially the past 3 years, he has been a very dominant pitcher. And he feels somewhat disrespected by this Milwaukee Brewers organization right now, how they are not paying with him, how they're fighting with him in arbitration. I think that he's just going to go out and shove and as a kind of a giant middle finger to this organization and be like, all right, you guys are messing up. If you don't pay me, I'm gone, essentially. Like, obviously, as stupid as it sounds, but he's going to kind of show them why, like, or make him question why the hell we didn't pay this guy, because he's a top-end starter in the entire MLB, never mind just in this organization. So I have Corbin Burns plus 550, not really a great value play, but I think that he's going to really step up and have a really good dominant year.
And I do want to say, gotta throw some love. If the pitch clock is really effective, then it's Max Scherzer, and there's no doubt.
Yeah. Yep.
So we do need to say his name. If the pitch clock really does play like an integral part to this season, Max Scherzer, you can pretty much just chalk it in right now as the Cy Young.
Yeah, that's not a bad prediction either. What I think is interesting is Zach Gallen is really higher up there in the.
He is high up
in the Cy Young
plus 1100. Is that what you have it at?
Yeah. Which it's an interesting pick, but I don't
know. And you can't sleep on the guys from San Diego. There's a few of them over there too. You know, Darvish, Musgrove.
Yeah.
Especially, I do want to say on this podcast, looking into this season, players say this about the World Cup in soccer. Well, usually when it's in the summer, you have that whole summer you're playing, and they talk about it basketball in the Olympics too. That's the main one I was talking about. You get like big games like this before your actual season starts. I like your chances this whole season. They're coming into the season. Masataka Yoshida just won a world championship. Next week he has to go play the Baltimore Orioles. You think he's just gonna, just be like, oh, let me go. Like, no, he's locked in now. So I would look out for everybody that played in the World Baseball Classic.
I was going to say the same thing. I was like, I feel like as an organization, you're almost like kind of dumb to not.
That's why the Yankees are the worst organization.
Like at the end of the day, you're almost dumb. Like they're playing like, oh yeah, sure, let's have Aaron Judge get spring training reps, or we could have him play against someone who actually cares about the game that's going on right now. And then if he hits tanks, then wow, we're locked in for the season. They're not locked in. They don't want it.
I'm very excited to see Masataka Yoshida win AL Rookie of the Year. I think that's
and be an All-Star.
Yeah, I don't
and
think
World Series MVP.
We're not talking about like Rookie of the Year predictions, but yeah, I think because it's just a general consensus lock. I'm pretty sure I'm not looking at it right now, but he should be minus odds to win AL Rookie of the Year, to be honest.
Who else would it? We don't even know who it would be, because somebody could literally get bumped up like
pretty sure
in a couple of months and win.
Pretty sure like Adley Rutschman is technically a rookie this year.
Yeah, he must be, right?
Yeah, he has rookie eligibility this year. I believe so.
Yeah, I kind of want to just look at that. I know we said we're not talking about it, but Gunnar Henderson. Yeah, Gunnar Henderson's up. There are some guys. Griff, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, in terms of talking about Rookie of the Year, if you want to talk about Rookie of the Year, the MLB does it the right way. There's a certain amount of games that you have to play in a season to, have it be like set as your rookie season, like you said with Adley Rutschman. The NBA, it's like no, like Ben Simmons was in his fifth season and won Rookie of the Year over Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum. It just doesn't make sense. But I have 110% respect if Adley Rutschman won Rookie of the Year, because in my terms, he's a rookie. So that's what I wanted to say is basically Ben Simmons winning Rookie of the Year was the fakest thing ever. The second fakest thing ever, the Pac-12. The third fakest thing ever is just the fact that the Yankees don't let their players have facial hair.
That's all I got. So dumb.
On a graphic.
Yeah. But here are the top. Gunnar Henderson's plus 225 to win AL Rookie of the Year. Yoshida's second at plus 600. Tristan Cassis is third with plus 900.
Tristan Cassis?
Yeah, third.
Fuck no.
Royce Lewis, Hunter Brown, Grayson Rodriguez, Anthony Volpe.
Tristan Cassis is not winning Rookie of the Year, bro.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
Tristan Cassis is gonna be replaced by Bobby Dalbec in like.
Wow, you're low on Tristan Cassis.
Yeah,
I think you're the only person I know who's low on Tristan Cassis.
I just I just like I don't know. I think that he is the opposite of Bobby Dalbec when it comes to he will actually like let a pitch hit the catcher's mitt. Like he will take pitches. I just think that like his antics are gonna get him, you know, he's not gonna be a favorite in the clubhouse.
Wow.
I
wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I mean,
and a lot of it bases off of how the players took his pregame and whole day routine last season. Like you said, that's not going to change. And you say that Kike will be okay with it, but you know, will everybody else? Like I'm not too sure. So I'm just saying I don't think Tristan Casas. I'm not saying he's going to be an absolute failure. And I know I said he's going to be benched by Bobby Dalbec, but I just know wholeheartedly he's not going to win Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
He's a guy that I didn't talk about when I expect him to I don't know. I think he'll be all right. I don't think he's going to be anything too special this year.
It would be an absolute failure of a year if he got benched replaced by Bobby.
No, Dalbec. I know. I only said that. It was the heat of the moment.
That would be the biggest dumpster fire in Red Sox organization history.
I see Tristan Casas batting maybe 8th for us because I think that you got to have Verdugo at 7th.
You're putting Arroyo at 6?
No. Hear me out. I would even have Verdugo bat 6th, Arroyo 7th, and then Bobby as like, you know, the big hitter on the bottom of the lineup because you got to have what do they call the second
Bobby
leadoff?
Or are we talking about
they call the 7 hole the second leadoff. So it's like he can't be the 7th. So he has to either be the 6th or the 8th.
I have Casas batting 5th in this lineup.
I mean, hopefully. I don't know. Like I just don't have the highest of hopes for him. I didn't know that people were like all over this guy yet. He's young. I think we're moving him up too early.
Well, he did it. He played well last year. What he brings to a lineup.
He played all right last year.
For a rookie getting called up in September. He did what he was supposed to.
And I guess I could say the same about Brian Bayo. I'm just scared about how early they're getting bumped up. I just feel like he doesn't have enough time in the minors. Is that a bad take?
It's not a bad take.
I like
it's
that.
Just,
we need him now. We need him now. That's the issue. We need him now.
It's a very different take.
I would love for him to come through. If he won Rookie of the Year, I would be running around the streets of Boston with my shirt off. But if I'm just saying that I think he's too young. I don't think that he is matured enough.
I want to say if we had these guys in our system, like at this point, like let's say like they were already ready to be called up and we're like, wow, we really need a pitcher and we really need a first baseman, and they were ready right now fully, I would love them 10 times more.
It's the fact that we need them right now is what you're trying to say, right?
It's like we need them so badly.
And if we needed them to, you know, come step up, that'd be great. If they were still in our farm,
like that. Because then it's like, okay, if he has a bad season, it's like, well, we just waste.
He doesn't have an option. We don't have that. Well, he's basically trying to say is that if he stinks, we have to put in Bobby Dalbec, right? Compared to if we had to put in somebody else. I mean, we could put in Justin Turner, but then who are you putting at the DH?
We have to hope too much if this experiment fails early, hypothetically, right? This experiment fails early because we brought them up too soon, that we have to bring them back down, and hopefully that brings them up enough from how much they failed.
Well, we should have kept Eric Hosmer.
Well, they got rid of
this issue.
They
didn't have this issue.
Well, yeah, because we got rid of Eric Hosmer because we expect Tristan Casas to be our everyday first baseman.
I'm hypothetical as if he doesn't pan out like to the way we.
I'm just saying that I am nervous that he may not because I don't think he's given us enough to prove that he's there. That was my
yes. That's the line that I'm on. I'm worried that he will not be what we think he will be this year, and for that reason, we are stuck.
Well, the expectations have to be normal, though. We can't expect it to bat 350 with 100 home runs.
No, obviously not.
I don't expect him to win the Rookie of the Year.
If he produces horrifically lower than what we think, like we are in a bad situation.
Well, yeah, that's what if Chris Sale has a 70 RA too? It's kind of
I mean, there's a chance he might fall off his bike in 2 weeks.
It's the same shit. He doesn't play anyways.
So
he might fall
I don't know.
tomorrow.
I have a different perspective on it where I think that Jesus, I'm about to sneeze every time that I'm about to talk, but Tristan Casas, his defensive ability can propel this. I think his glove defensively and how well he plays first base makes him 10 times better than Bobby Dahlbeck will ever be.
Oh,
right.
Well, Bobby,
like
I'm not doubting the power of the man. I'm not doubting him in that regard. I'm just saying, like, if he's not ready, but like we think he is, that the mental
he's
battle,
proven
the
that he's ready though.
We lost here.
Last year, he's proven to be the best first baseman in this organization by far, though, because
we have time off. We have time off.
So, defensive projections, big game at bats as well. He's not afraid of the moment. He has fun playing baseball to the point where he's not afraid of failure. And how he takes at bats. Griff, I'm going to kind of spin zone what you said prior, how he's opposite of Bobby Dahlbeck, but that makes him 10 times harder to pitch to.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
He has great slashes against lefty. Obviously, he smokes righties. Fenway is a ballpark for him down that pesky pole. I think that my expectations for him are 20 home runs, batting 275. And I think that will be a successful year for him.
I mean, like, I'm not disagreeing with how good he can be or how good I think he is going to be. I'm playing the devil's advocate for the chance that it does not work out. That's what I'm worried about, because now, because we need them. It's not like, oh, wow, he is ready to play for us. Let's take our chance and see how good he can become. It's like, hey, man, we actually don't have a first baseman and you're pretty damn good. Let's give you a shot. It's not like old guy, it is old guy come in with the new, but it's also like old guy, we need someone new.
Well, hypothetically, it doesn't work out. You move Turner to first base, Duvall to DH, Kike to center field.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that we can do, but it's like that the prospect is not there anymore. It's like we built him up so much. We want to have we want to have him be our guy. It's like, I'm not worried that he's not going to be good. I'm playing the devil's advocate side of this part. That my take is, if he doesn't end up good, it's like, what do we like? What's the future withhold?
Yeah, basically
Blaze Jordan.
Yeah,
Blaze Jordan's still 12. No, okay. Basically, where this all routed from was when I made the joke that he was going to get benched for Bobby Dahlbeck in July. That was most obviously a joke. My original take was that you said that he was top 3 in odds of AL Rookie of the Year, right?
Technically top 4 because he's tied with Royce Lewis from the Twins at plus 900.
Okay. So that's dependent on the site. I was nervous that, him having those odds, I feel like he's a guy that honestly looks at that. I'm scared that you say he plays with a lot of freedom. I'm scared that freedom, that, energy that he plays with as a young baseball player can get taken and absolutely shit on in Fenway Park. And I'm scared that he can either go 2 routes. He can shell up, right? And this is, if he does not perform the way that we want him to perform. He can shell up, become a shell of himself. He's bad at the plate. He's bad in the field, things like that. Or he can become a bad guy to Boston, where he's like, all right, well, fuck you guys anyways type thing. That's if he doesn't perform well. And the pressure that's going to be put on him from Boston, from the people that go to Fenway Park, is going to be immense. And they're going to see numbers like that. They're going to be like, oh, Tristan Casas is supposed to win AL Rookie of the Year. So he's supposed to bat 300 and he's supposed to hit 25. I just feel like people, and we talked about it earlier on the podcast, people put these high expectations on people. I could see, anybody in the system crumbling under that pressure. So I'm just saying, I don't like when Tristan Casas is up there for AL Rookie of the Year. I genuinely don't believe that he's going to win AL Rookie of the Year. I think that, like you said, Masataka Yoshida has better odds than him. I agree that he should. I think Gunnar Henderson should obviously lead it. I think that there's different guys like Anthony Volpe, and maybe you could even throw Oswald Pereza if he gets called up from the Yankees early. In my opinion, should be ahead of Tristan Casas, because in my opinion, it's not that they have more upside. I just think that there's different pressures, and then there's also different reliefs of being a day one starter. When you're 23 years old and you're a day one starter and you're batting fifth for a team that's supposed to make the playoffs, it doesn't always go the way that you want to go.
Well,
so basically what I was trying to say is he's not going to win AL Rookie of the Year.
The reason why those guys are lower on the odds are because they're not on the opening day rosters as of right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like
yeah,
they're not guaranteed to be called
yeah.
up this year. So that's why they're there, I guess. But your point is taken valid. I understand where you're coming from. Essentially, it's just I
think the best way to wrap around this stuff is, in my opinion, like from where he is right now to where he's going to be at the end of the season, he has the highest ceiling and he has the lowest floor on the team, in my opinion. I don't think anyone has a lower floor than he does. Because Reese McGuire, what do you expect from him? Nothing. Arroyo, you really don't expect from him until Story comes
Rafael
back.
Devers.
He's a make or break type of guy. Rafael Devers is making millions of dollars. His floor, if he hits his floor, then the whole organization has hit the floor.
Yeah,
you know. True.
No, I mean, your point is well taken. It's just I guess I'm not worried about him failing.
I hope that in a couple of weeks I feel the same thing. I am a little bit nervous about him, though. That is a player I'm nervous about. Just in terms of batting fifth, I mean, we need him to be a 5-hole. And I like you said, you think that he will. I think that he can, and that I hope that he will. So I'm glad that you have that confidence, because that instills a little bit more confidence in myself for this guy, because like we've talked about on this episode, we're going to be watching these guys every fucking day. Every single day. We've already been watching these guys every day of the spring. We've been watching guys that are going to be down in Salem Winston for the year this spring. Like, this is our team. So watching Tristan Casas, I watched him in AAA. He was a fucking dog in AAA. I mean, he was disrespecting people in AAA. He's not made for AAA, but he's 23 years old. And, you know, there's a lot of pressures that come into this game. And I'm praying that his personality perseveres and he becomes one of the better personalities in baseball, because he truly could be one of those guys. If you're a baseball purist, you hate Tristan Casas, but also if you're a baseball purist, how's the pitch clock?
You don't like the pitch clock?
Love the pitch clock. No, baseball purists don't like the pitch clock.
Oh, I thought
I love the pitch clock.
I thought you were doing that.
I like having a clock winding down every single pitch. It feels like it's like, you know, the last second pitch is like, oh, that's a buzzer beater. That made me feel good.
Yeah, it's like a shot clock violation that goes in.
Yeah, I love the you know, you step into the batter's box is like, no, it's already 0-1. I like that.
Yeah,
I do like that, because it's like, okay, speed it up, get into the box, like let's play baseball. I love the pitch. I am as pro pitch clock as it gets.
You definitely saw, obviously, with AAA last year being there basically every single game. I think, well, all right, because we're all 162 guys for the most part. Like we watch a majority of the games when it comes to Red Sox baseball, except whenever I go to a minor league game, I feel like I look up and I'm like, oh shit, it's already the 7th inning. So I'm afraid. I don't want to say I'm afraid of that. But when I go to a Red Sox game, but like it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I wish I was there for longer.
It's like, I wish I was there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I'm one of those guys that it's like, I mean, I tell this to everybody. A no-hitter to me is just as exciting as, you know, a game with 3 or 4 home runs. Like, I love pitching. I love defense. And we're Red Sox fans. We grew up Red Sox Yankees games. Like, I was born into long baseball games. We were all born into long. I love long baseball games, but I think that the pitch clock does get rid of a lot of unnecessary time in the game.
Oh no, 100%. I love the pitch clock as well, and especially for games that I'm watching at home, it will give me more, because we have MLB TV. Like we watch out of market games all the time. So those games watching, like, you know, my favorite, I would always say like the Padres were my 10 o'clock team. Whenever I would get home late from a late shift or whatever, I would watch the Padres. Don Orsillo on the call. But those games being sped up, you know, they start at 10, they end around 12:30. That's totally fine compared to 1:30 in the morning or 1 in the morning. It's going to make the out of market games, and it's going to make the games on TV a lot more enjoyable, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good take. This is mostly for TV, in my opinion, because the people, when you're at a game, the organization wants you to be at the game as long as possible. That's why when there's a rain delay and you know that they're going to call the game, they don't call the game for like another 40 minutes because, people are grabbing, beers and hot dogs and stuff like that. Like, you want people at the game longer so they can buy everything there, go into the pro shop, all that stuff. When you're watching a game on TV, which is how you're going to reel in this next generation, you don't want the game to be 4 hours long. So it's like, it's not going to be that big of a hit. Maybe it's half less of a beer that we drink at a game, or one less hot dog for me on my 9 for 9. Maybe I don't make all 9 hot dogs in 9 innings. Maybe that doesn't happen anymore. Maybe I've lost a step or two. Maybe I haven't evolved with the pitch clock. So, I mean, we haven't even seen that yet. Will, do you think you could take down 9 hot dogs in 9 innings still with the pitch clock?
No chance.
I think if anything, try that.
If anything, like
well, you got to go 9 for 9. You have to have the 9 beers, the 9 dogs for the 9 innings. You got to do both.
Can we try that?
I'd be more inclined.
I've never drank before, but after June 19th, yes. I've never drank before, so yeah, we can do that for the pod after I drank for the first time.
Okay,
we'll do 9 for 9. 9 hot dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings of baseball.
Hold on. I'm just doing some calculations.
Are we going to do it like in somebody's basement, or are we going to go to the game? Because usually you do it at the game, but the basement might be easier.
It will be easier. It's $12 for a beer at Fenway, right? So 12 times 9 is 108. And then it's $5.50 for a hot dog at Fenway times 9 plus. Yeah, so that would cost them $157 plus probably $45 for a ticket. That's $202.
$9 for the. We will have to have student 9s that day.
For that day, okay. So I'll subtract.
That will be a student 9 today. That will definitely be a student 9.
So it would be around $163 for that outing.
Stop. How does your place sound?
Yeah, that will be the mood.
Yeah, we'll make hot dogs. We'll know how to make hot dogs.
Yeah, we'll figure that. We'll cross that bridge. That'd be a fun video. That would be a fun day.
We could like live stream it.
Yeah, 9 beers, 9 hot dogs. Yeah, that's easy.
After my 21st birthday, I haven't drank yet, so it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
I've never drank before, so
yeah, it might be a little harder for you.
Yeah,
I know. I always
hot dogs should be easy.
Those taste like. I mean, the hot dogs is easy. I might do 18 hot dogs.
Yeah, no, that would be fun. I think we have to do it. I think that will be. Let's
do 20 hot dogs. Well, okay. Should we end this episode?
Oh, hold on. We have to let's pick a day right now where we will do this. I'm looking at I have the Red Sox schedule right in front of me.
I have my work schedule in front of me.
Okay.
And Will's work schedule in front of me.
I think we should do it for a fun game. Oh my God. The Sox play the Rangers on the 4th of July at 1:30.
I'm working on the 4th of July.
Okay, so we can't do it that day. We'll figure this out, but there are some good candidates. I kind of want to do it at the end of June. It might be fun to do like a random Tuesday night, like
that would be great. Yeah. Wait. Yes. And end of those last 2 weeks of June.
Let's hear it.
Start the day. We'll do a day vlog. We'll go golfing to start the day. Come back for the Sox game. 9 for 9.
Ooh.
Make a whole day.
Well, how many hot dogs do we have to have on the golf course too?
Oh.
And how
one
many
per hole. Wait.
Should we play 18? No, we should do 18, but we should do beers for the golf. And then we'll bring the hot dogs in to play later in the evening. That'd be a lot of hot dogs. We'll
do it. We'll figure it out. We'll do it.
Hot dogs. I don't eat a lot, man. Looks like it, but I don't.
I mean, if you play 18, like you work up an appetite.
Okay, unofficial day. We'll call it a Tuesday night. Tuesday I gotta zoom in on this image. It's all blurry. That's stupid.
Tuesday night in June.
Do we have a game Tuesday? Let's say, what month am I? Oh wait, no, Wednesday the 28th or Tuesday the 27th of June.
The Tuesday the 27th, they play the I'm scrolling down again. Keeps backing me out of this. All right, Tuesday the 27th, the Red Sox face the Diamondbacks. That is a no. That's they face the Marlins June 27th.
I was gonna say a 10 o'clock start would be interesting.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock against the Marlins, June 27th, 2023. That's going to be a big day. I don't think we'll be able to golf because we'll probably be working that day, but we'll figure something out with that. I think we have to declare that a 9-for-9 day.
It has to be, yeah. That is the first 9-for-9 day of the summer.
Are we going to do one per month?
Might have to.
June, July, and August?
Dude, that's a lot of hot dog. It's like that. That's like my designated hot dog day for the month.
Well, July is gonna be tough.
I work like I'm gonna have to like. You're not.
I will know these hot dogs, bro.
The 4th of July is a hot dog day, so we might not be able to do it in July unless we do it
well, that's an exception. That's like a federal hot dog day. That's not. So like that's like, you know how like we celebrate our own little things like, and then there's like. Christmas, like that's like Christmas for hot dogs. Like we have our own little hot dog days. Like, oh, we're going to the Red Sox. Let's go have a hot dog. There's something like that.
I like how you.
The 4th of July is like the hot dogs Christmas.
I like how you're like, oh yeah, we have our own little thing, but then we have Christmas. Christmas is Christmas. All right,
but yeah, no, like. If we have to eat hot dogs twice in a month, that's not the end of the world.
No, we're not going to die of.
It's just about our hot dog per month ratio.
Yeah, that's something.
It will be thrown off, and we just need to be ready for that.
Yeah, we need to train for it.
Will's gonna be training for it. I know it.
Yeah, Will's has an advantage in this.
Opening day, big day. It's a big hot dog day. Opening day.
How's that keyboard tasting, Will? But anyways, no, Will was like someone's swiping at their keyboard. But anyways, I think this episode should have been over a little bit ago. Dom is lighting his apartment on fire once again. I gotta end it. We hope you guys enjoyed. This is just the beginning. Baseball season is, in my opinion, wacky season. So, we'll be back on college basketball at the beginning of next week. So if you guys were scared of us then, we'll be a little bit better. Or scared of us now, we'll be a little bit better then. For now, we're going to stay a little weird with our Red Sox jerseys on. Fuck the Yankees. Have a good week. Peace. Who's doing that shit, though?
What?
Who's touching like something with their hands right now?
Yeah, I'm not.
What was that? It was Will, bro. I know it was Will.